More than 200 graduates remain desperate and unemployed many years after the state paid at least 36 million rands for the Human Settlements Development degrees. The program, launched in 2014, was the brainchild of then Minister Tokyo Sugwala. Good evening and welcome to Unfiltered. I'm Aldrin St-Pierre. Tonight we're asking you, why has the Human Settlements Department failed its own graduates, and why did the state spend millions of taxpayers' money only for them to abandon the poor students they themselves have recruited? Via Zoom this evening, we are joined by Thandolwethu Mteto, who is the secretary from the Institute of Human Settlements Practitioners of South Africa, an organization where all universities that offer the course are affiliated. Also, Yonela Mashalaba is joining us, a Bachelor of Human Settlements Development graduate. We called on the Department of Human Settlements to come and join this conversation and to answer to these poor graduates, but we were sent from pillar to post. But this platform remains open to them to set the record straight on this matter. Remember that you can also be part of the conversation by going on to our social media accounts. On Twitter, it is at Unfiltered SABC, and on Facebook, just search for Unfiltered SABC. Thank you so much for joining us this evening. We'll be taking some of your questions and your comments a bit later on. Let's start off with Yonela. Yonela, good evening, and thank you so much for making time for us. Take us back to the moment that you were first told about this course.
Greeting, Adrian St-Pierre. Good evening to all the viewers that are lucky enough to have generators in order to watch your show. We were recruited in this program around 2014 by various means. There wasn't any formal way in which this was done, to say maybe there was an advert out, but we were told in general about the Bachelor of Human Settlements program. And then after that, various people from the national department came to visit us, and we signed bursary contracts which stated different things like how we would be enrolled at the end of the program and what would happen if we're not absorbed at the end of the program. And then also some departmental people came to just encourage us and tell us about the bright future ahead of us and how we would go overseas if we excel in our academics, and about all the opportunities that are there for us. That is basically how the whole thing unraveled.
And then for 4 years you were enrolled, and then you graduated, and what happened?
So for within that 4 years, we were well taken care of. We had bursaries for accommodation, we had bursaries for textbooks. We were taken care of. And then I think when we started realizing that there was a problem was when we actually graduated. You know, when an institution such as the university and the Department of Human Settlements come together and then they have a baby at the end, you'd think there'll be like a special ceremony where they'll actually try to highlight their achievements over the past 4 years. But it was just silence. It just seemed like nothing just happened. And that's when I kind of knew that there was a problem. And then when we went to municipalities and all the prospective places to apply, no one knew of that degree. Like, it seemed like we had just been studying a ghost program that nobody actually knew about. Like, and that was just the beginning of our nightmare, basically.
Give us an example of where you would have applied, for instance, and there was a call and said that there's a job vacancy or job vacancies available. Then what happened?
So, for example, what would happen is that I think the primary places that we'd actually go to is like municipalities, because they actually deal a lot with human settlements. And then you will see a post that literally has our study outcomes as a requirement on that particular post, and you'd actually apply on the post, and you'd find that the human settlements, first thing first, the Bachelor of Human Settlements would not appear there as a core requirement or any form of requirement, even though you could see the duties are exactly what you studied, and it just not appear there. And then if you go there and actually inquire why they don't have the Bachelor of Human Settlements, which I have recently inquired with the municipality of the Garden Route, for example, which had, I think last year, November, that a post that was exactly what I studied, but the requirements, they wanted someone who studied a bachelor in administration and all of those type of degrees, and they just don't know of our existence. Like, they literally sent me an email saying that they don't know about our degree.
But this qualification, of course, is recognized by the South African Qualifications Authority. Just a quick one to our listeners. This is what the website says. The purpose and rationale of this qualification is to provide learners with special knowledge, skills, competencies, and attitudes necessary to accelerate human settlement development in South Africa and create and upgrade and maintain sustainable human settlements. This will prepare them to fulfill primary responsibilities of managing all processes involved in human settlement development and management and coordinating the stakeholders in the human settlement sector. But then the sense that you then get, Thando Lethu, is it's almost like it's not even being recognized. Sorry, Yonela.
Yes, that's basically what we get. Like, and ironically, Adrian, I've spoken to several people within National Human Settlements, including some directors, and they said they've spoken to HODs around the country about this particular program, and they should know about it. And which then, to me, Adrian, informs me that this thing is actually intentional. It's not that people don't know about the program. I just think it just does not have political favor.
Okay. Thando Lethu is joining us for this conversation as well. Thando Lethu Mteto is the Secretary for the Institute of Human Settlements Practitioners of South Africa. Thando Lethu, thank you so much for making time for us this evening. When did you become aware of the concerns that are being raised by these graduates? Please unmute yourself.
Thank you very much, colleagues, for having me tonight in the show. As introduced, my name is Thando Lethu Mteto, the Company Secretary of the Institute of Human Settlements Practitioners. I think also being the Company Secretary, I'm the graduate of the qualification. I'm coming, I think I've completed the qualification in 2019. So I know the pain of the graduates of human settlements because I am one of them since inception. Thank you very much. I'm not sure whether you want me to continue
it's
or
fine.
just to stop there.
You can continue.
I think myself here, as being the graduate of human settlements from Nelson Mandela University, I will be speaking on behalf of the Institute, which is the professional home for all those who are in the housing and human settlement space, primarily being the graduates of housing and human settlements in the country from various universities that are producing the graduates. So I think in my fourth year, we realized that the graduates that are produced, already graduated, are facing challenges after completion their qualification because it's a new profession, it's a new degree. So people, stakeholders, role players, were not really familiar in the built environment space of what are the key competencies of this qualification, where can we place these graduates, and all of those challenges. And one of the concerns that was there was that we don't have a professional home where we will belong, not related professional homes, but our primary professional home, which is meant for housing and human settlements graduates. Hence, the institute was established then to drive the issue of the professionalization, so that at the end we may have a council for the graduates.
But for
Thank
now,
you very
though,
much.
most of your members, if not the majority of them, are actually unemployed. But we'll continue the conversation when we come back. Remember that you can also be part of the conversation. You can go onto our Facebook page, search for Unfiltered SABC, or you can use our Twitter handle @Unfiltered SABC. Do you know about this program, and have you heard of any of the graduates who are struggling to find placement, struggling to find job opportunities? Because, quite frankly, the qualification is not being recognized by some very important stakeholders in the industry. And welcome back to Unfiltered with me, Aldrin Simpier, as we focus on the Bachelor of Human Settlement Development program, which was sponsored by the Department of Human Settlements. And what has happened is since some graduates have completed their courses, they are struggling to find jobs because the industry doesn't recognize the qualification. Joining us this evening is Thando Mteto, who is the Secretary of the Institute of Human Settlements Practitioners of South Africa, an organization where all universities that offer the course are affiliated, and also Yonela Mashalaba, who is a Bachelor of Human Settlements Development graduate. Thando, I just quickly want to go back to you. Have you ever attempted to engage the Department of Human Settlements with regards to the concerns that are raised by the graduates?
Thank you very much. As the Institute, we are in the process. Let me not say we've tried. We are in the process of engaging the department regarding many issues. Primarily, the priority is the issue of unemployed graduates.
Okay.
So that we may find a common ground regarding the sustainable solution on this matter. So we haven't made great progress thus far, but
why haven't you made the progress?
I think there are many things that are happening within the space of human settlements. I will mention this issue of also changing the management within the department. So it is delaying us to engage the department on these issues because there has been some restructuring and all those things.
Okay, Yonela, from your end, have you ever tried to engage the department, or do you know any graduates who have tried to?
Mr. Sampier, I have on several occasions. I've engaged the former Minister of Human Settlement, Ulindiwe Sisulu, via WhatsApp on several occasions.
And what was her response at the time?
We kept on postponing. She'd be available this week, she'd be available the next week, she'd be available the other week. And it never really brought fruition to anything. We have had a dialogue, if you would have seen, if you call it a dialogue on LinkedIn with the current Minister, Kubai, where she had actually even said that she had actually employed all human settlements graduates except for 6. Of course, we know that was not true because even later on the day, actually during that day, I received an email where they were asking for details of graduates in order to place. And they sent this email to my office, and that same office had already been there since the first class graduated. But as soon as there was discussions on LinkedIn about the topic, they then sent a request asking for details of graduates. And then we told them they need to engage with the chair of human settlements. And then when that died down, they stopped. So there's a little bit of, I know everyone is going to try and be professional about this, and there's just a bit of dishonesty between the relationship of the Department of Human Settlements and the students. And I think I would be doing them a disservice to come up in the show and paint a rosy picture of continuous dialogues that are not happening.
Okay, so in response to Professor Sejekula Mbanga, who is the chair of human settlements at the Nelson Mandela University. This is now in response to what was raised. This is what the minister then says to the prof in response. She says, and I'm just going to, just one excerpt, and I'm going to get your reaction to this. This is what she says. Secondly, in this message, you are not indicating that the department, through my instruction, has contacted graduates of this program so that we can place them. By last week, Friday, out of all the graduates were contacted, except for 5 that the department is battling to locate, unless you are not in touch with the same students you claim to advocate for. And there were many responses to that, and many of the graduates responding to that, saying that I must be one of those 5 that you haven't contacted, because I haven't been in any conversation with the Department of Human Settlements. Do you know about this, Yonela?
Definitely. That is particularly the conversation that I was actually pointing out to, in terms of the dishonesty between the relationships of the national department and the graduates involved. The issue here, Adrian, to be honest with you, is that the housing backlog in South Africa, whilst we're having this type of conversation, sits at 2.56 million, and which means that around 12 million citizens are without proper housing. And the Bachelor of Human Settlements was developed exactly to establish some form of professionalization in the sector through management of all processes that have to do with human settlements. So the problem then becomes here, Adrian, where the priorities of the ruling party become greater than that of national goals. So that you find that even though, and if it gets worse when that particular ruling party does not have a common goal of national development, because what then happens there is that they go to NASREC, and whoever wins at NASREC, their agenda becomes priority of the day, and whatever ideas that came before that become ideas of the past. Yeah. And that is exactly what is happening here. This is seen as a Tokyo Sehwale baby, and it will forever be seen as an idea of the past, despite the realities of the human settlement sector.
Okay, and Thandolethu, what's your observation about what's happening here? Because in that post again, Prof. Mbanga also goes on to say that through non-recognition of the housing and human settlements qualification in graduates placement and staff recruitment processes, by withdrawing the research funding support to the 4th final year students in the Nelson Mandela University as well as the University of Fort Hare. So meaning that there's also been funding that was made available and that was stopped.
Thank you very much, colleagues. I would love not to really respond on those issues because they are pertaining the universities. Because myself, I am not even talking on behalf of myself as a graduate, but I think from the institute is really for the graduates, as creating the space because it wants them to gain that professional recognition.
Yeah. But does the institute know whether funding has been stopped or has been reduced?
The institute was notified about the issue of the funding being stopped by the department. So one of the key issues that the institute is engaging the department on are these matters of the graduates, the graduate placement, the issue of funding, the issue of supporting the institute to carry on with the work of professionalizing the whole sector, and the issue of establishing the council. So from the institute side, it is trying to meet the issues that are raised by the graduates halfway, because one of the issues that we have realized or that have came up through our programs last year as we were going around the provinces is that potential employers within the human settlement space do not understand the key competencies of the graduates. Yeah. Actually, others do not know about the qualification. So
but
the
is that even though the South African Qualifications Authority has those outcomes?
Yes, they are clearly stated there. So the Institute was advocating for the graduates of human settlements and housing by sharing that information and what are these graduates are capable of.
Okay.
As a result, the Institute, in its seminar last year, it had a workshop around finalizing a list that is combined of all the key competencies across different provinces.
Okay, let's just quickly go to a break, Thandolethu. When we come back, we'll get you to wrap up the points that you have there and also look at what you believe the solution is for these graduates. And remember that we're also taking your comments at Unfiltered SABC. That's on Twitter and on Facebook as well. Just search for Unfiltered SABC. And we're getting closing remarks from our guest this evening, but quickly some of your tweets as well as voice notes. This one from Valentina. The government is spending more on training employees rather than acknowledging us. The deputy minister said we should be tenderpreneurs. Our qualifications allow us to be project managers as well. Let's take a look at some of the voice notes.
It's a mess because the department ignores us. The deputy minister told us to go to his paza, Sinanzige is dena pa, Situt is dena, and all of that kind of situations. There were people who came with this idea of having a degree of this nature. We all know that our government has a failure of implementing. It's not a new thing.
Thandolethu, in 30 seconds, your closing remarks. What do you think can happen?
Thank you very much, colleagues. I think the Institute is ready and available to meet the department and all the stakeholders to partner with them on the graduate placement program so that it can roll out. We address these challenges faced by students and graduates. Even the students can also access experiential learning programs while they are studying through the projects that are done by the department.
Thank you. Yonela, your closing remarks. What do you think the solutions are?
I think the solution, Mr. Adrian Pierre, is not rocket science, as Thandolethu has stipulated. First of all, the Bachelor of Human Settlements development needs to appear in all relevant posts of the Department of Human Settlements as a core requirement. And all other degrees need to appear as a relevant qualification. That's first. And secondly, is what Thandolethu has already alluded to. We want in-service programs for all of our students. And lastly, graduate programs need to start. It's as simple as that.
Thandolethu and Yonela, thank you so much for your time. And thank you for choosing Unfiltered with me, Aldrin Simpier. We're back again next week, Monday, same time, same place, right here on S3. Tot ziens. Enjoy the rest of your evening.